This story is surely going to be problematic. Seems like his wife has an affair. Not one, but many. I guess these are all the friends that he should not worry about. Interesting. He looks cool about it, not worrying at all. Oh my god, dude! I thought we were cool. Come on. Let's get into their story, but before that, make sure to subscribe to my channel, otherwise I tell him that you slept with his wife too. The movie starts with Vic riding a bike and arriving at his house, where he meets Melinda, his wife, staring at him. She replies nothing when he asks her what's up. She's probably thinking how hot he is or how wild. We will find out about that soon. Then we cut to their home and their daughter, Trixie, tells Alexa to play Old MacDonald's song, which pisses off her mom. And the babysitter arrives, while Vic just watches and smiles. Eventually, Vic and Melinda go upstairs and he picks out a dress for her and even helps her wear a shoe. They head to a party where they meet some of their friends. We cut to Melinda seeing her friend Joel walk in. This guy is freaking handsome, and she rushes off and greets him in a rather so friendly manner. I mean, let's not tell my husband friendly. She proceeds to lead him all around the party and Vic just watches from afar. He eventually looks out the window and he sees Melinda and Joel making out. I told you it was too friendly. But she looks up and sees him and continues making out with him. I think she knows that he believes in sharing is caring. Anyway, a friend of Vic comes and they start talking. She eventually asks him if Melinda and Joel are sleeping together. Vic casually evades the question and then she tells him that all his friends are concerned and she doesn't want him looking foolish. Soon we see Melinda on top of a piano and then she starts playing and singing, much to joy of everyone. Joel meets up with Vic at the bar and they start talking, and then Joel thanks Vic for letting him get close to his wife. I mean, that's a good gift. Very nice of you, Vic. Vic tells him, "You're welcome, no problem," and tells him that he murdered one of Melinda's close friends, Martin McRae, to scare him. Joel leaves the party much to Melinda's displeasure, and she later asks Vic if he said something to Joel. And he says, "No, I just rescheduled your affair with him for next week." Back in the house, Melinda walks around topless in front of the babysitter. Vic complains perhaps he doesn't like lesbian actions. You know, he is a straight man. She goes upstairs and has a talk with Vic, and she tells him how Joel turns her on, and then she tells him to leave the room. Vic raises snails, so he goes to his snail room to take care of him. The next morning, Vic kinda helps Trixie with her science project, while Melinda claims that she's going to end up like her dad, who built bomb for drone warfare, specifically the internal chip that the drones use. In the next scene, Vic takes Trixie to a school. On his way out, he meets a friend who tells him that she heard that he said he killed Martin McRae. He says it was a joke. In the next scene, he has a conversation with his buddies and they complain to Vic about Melinda's behavior and the way she treats other men. He goes back home and Melinda is furious that he lied to Joel and she tells him to apologize to him. Joel comes over and Trixie doesn't like him. Vic makes a lobster meal. Joel says he's allergic to lobster, so he gets a grilled cheese sandwich. During the meal, Joel says he's got a new job in New Mexico. Melinda flirts with Joel and then she says that Vic isn't normal, and Vic says he's not because a normal man wouldn't tolerate what she's been doing. Eventually, Vic tucks Trixie to bed and then goes back downstairs and he sees Joel and Melinda being intimate. They notice him, so she comes out and gets Vic a drink. Vic talks to Joel once more and confirms that he did kill Martin McRae. And then he says, "Your Uber arrived," and force him to leave. The scene cuts to a party where Vic and his family meet Don and his wife Kelly. Don is a writer and Vic tells him that he builds chips for drone warfare and he's rich as fuck. Don realizes who he is and he says that he killed Martin McRae. Soon Vic dances with Don's wife, Kelly, to the surprise of everyone, and Melinda watches jealously. On their way home, Melinda asks Vic if he wants to sleep with Kelly. Vic casually evades the question, then she starts going down to fix his 3-inch pipe, until Vic complains that she'll get them killed and she says she's better than Kelly. Well, no doubt about that. Next, we cut to Vic and Melinda having some sexy time. It was a little uncomfortable. Then we see Trixie at soccer practice and Melinda complains that the opposition team are all age 12. Later on, Vic receives a phone call where an operator tells him that his wife signed a $3,000 check for Mr. Charlie for her piano lessons. Vic does some digging and he finds the place where Charlie plays and he goes to size him up. And the dude is also gorgeous. Damn, Melinda has a good taste. Vic goes back home where he finds the babysitter teaching Trixie how to play poker. As that's happening, Vic sees on the news that the police have found Martin McRae's body. He finds a drunk Melinda who tells him that he's been partying with her new friend, which he should not worry about. Then he tells her that Martin McRae is dead and she starts blaming him for it. Next we cut to Vic and Trixie getting a puppy named Roger, and then we cut to Vic and Melinda sharing a rather awkward meal. The scene moves to Vic and his buddy in the bar where Charlie plays, and Vic even shakes Charlie's hand and tells him he's good. Eventually we find Melinda and Charlie in a car and she starts to slowly undress, and then she and Charlie starts being intimate. The amount of loyalty from her is amazing, oh my god. The next morning Vic notices that Melinda didn't come home last night, and when she returns they have a fight and she basically admits that she's been sleeping with Charlie. Very bold. He starts getting angry and Melinda asks him if he wants a divorce and he says no. And then he tells her to stop seeing Charlie and it turns Melinda on and she attempts to get intimate with him. Vic refuses and she snaps at him, telling him that he would be bored with another woman. I think these are all side effects of having a horny woman. We get to yet another party. This time some adults are having a race on all fours while they have drinks on their backs. Melinda is one of them. Charlie walks into the party, Melinda sees him and introduces him to everyone, and then she tells him to play the piano, and he does. People start to dance and having fun. Melinda notices Vic staring angrily and she walks over and starts touching his private. This girl is crazy. After the song, Vic meets Charlie and they exchange an awkward talk. Next, we see Vic by the pool where some of his friends are getting high. Vic goes into the house looking for Melinda and he sees her come out of the room with Charlie and he's holding his pants in his arms. You don't need to be a detective to know what happened in there. Then we see Charlie and Melinda in the pool and they are getting all handsy and nasty right in front of the Vic. Then it starts raining and everyone heads inside, leaving Vic and Charlie outside. Don notices this before going inside. Soon Vic walks in and gets his hands burnt by a cookie platter and everyone starts partying and dancing. Melinda notices that Charlie isn't inside, so she goes out and she finds him dead in the pool. She screams and everyone rushes out and tries to revive him, but to no avail. And Melinda starts accusing Vic of killing Charlie. Well, she knows her husband more than anyone else, I guess. The police arrive and they start questioning everyone. Vic gets interrogated privately and then he gives a solid response that he burned his hand, so he was inside and everyone saw him, so they let him go. On their way home, Melinda cries and starts hitting him. At home, she iterates that she knows he killed Charlie, and Vic asks her why she's not scared of him then, and she says because she's the one he killed for. Next, we cut to Vic riding a bike, and he flashes back to the pool. Turns out he really did kill Charlie, and he did it while imagining him sleeping with his wife. As he rides, he notices a car following him. He drops Trixie off at the school and he runs into Kelly. She tells him that her husband Don is hell-bent on proving that Vic killed Charlie and that Don has allied with Melinda to prove it. Vic invites them to a dinner where he has a conversation with Don. He says he's not a murderer in such a way that shows I am the murderer, but if you tell someone, I will kill you too. Next, we see Vic walking past a street. He notices the car that's been following him. He looks inside and sees a camera. Guess the person's a private investigator. He notices that Melinda is having lunch with the owner of the car. He crashes their lunch and the guy, whose name is David, lies and says he's a psychotherapist. Vic leaves them and he meets up with Don and Kelly, who are having a meal with their daughter, and he tells Don that he knows he hired a private investigator and he showed them proof of payment that his wife sent money to him. He leaves while Kelly starts fighting with Don. Then we cut to Trixie having a bath with Vic by her side. and she tells him that she knows he killed Charlie. And Vic denies it, but says she should keep it between them. Then Vic overhears Melinda talking to someone on the phone, and she mentions moving to Brazil, and she even says, "I love you." Next we see Melinda giving Vic the silent treatment. Not that Vic was talking too much already, kinda not a necessary treatment. Then we cut to Vic at his snail room where Tony, the guy Melinda was talking on the phone with, shows up. He's the least handsome of them all. He's a former boyfriend of Melinda, and they start hitting it off and flirting right in front of Vic. And soon Vic watches as Melinda leads him to the room upstairs, and he watches from a distance. Not sure dude is a cuckold or not. The next day Vic meets up with Tony and gives him a ride under the guise that he is taking him to Melinda. He takes him to the wood far enough. Seems like they're going to a picnic. But suddenly, bam, kill him with a rock and drop him into the river and collect his wallet as well, I think for the gas fee. Then he returns home and starts celebrating with Trixie. Melinda tries to call Tony, but there is no answer. Vic goes to his photo studio and takes some photos. When he comes back, he and his family head for a picnic at the same place where he killed Tony. He and Melinda starts talking and they start getting intimate again. He gives her a photo album which has a bunch of photos he took from Melinda, and in the end he inscribes, "To the love of my life that I kill for." He notices that Trixie is really close to the place where he killed Tony, so he takes her back and they head home, but Melinda says that she forgot her scarf at the picnic site. He says, "No problem, you know what, I'm gonna go there tomorrow and I get it for you, babe, because I gotta check on somebody I killed." Then he and Melinda spend a night together and they even have some intense clapping time. I guess whenever he kills someone, it turns her on. The next day, Vic rides to the woods and sees that Tony's body has started floating. He tries to push it with a stick. Meanwhile, Melinda finds Tony's wallet in Vic's snail room and she starts packing the luggage. But when she's done, Trixie takes the luggage and throws it in the pool. While Vic is trying to push the dead body under the water, Don notices Vic at the river. Turns out he'd been following him, and he is holding the scarf. But Don sees the body, runs to his car, and drives fast and escapes while Vic chases him. Finally, Vic manages to get in front of him. Don is scared to drive over him, so he turns and drives off a cliff and crashes into a river. The snitches get stitches very neatly. Mission accomplished. Vic rides back home where he meets Melinda staring at him, just like at the beginning of the movie. She says nothing when he asks her what's up, and then she tells him she saw Tony, which surprises Vic. Finally, we cut to a scene of Melinda burning Tony's IDs, and their story goes on and on. Not sure if it's a happy ending or not, but guess you can get away with murder if your family is supportive enough. Subscribe for more clapping stories. Until the next time, see ya.